Travis, my good soul. So this evening for Valentine's Day, I was cyber terrorized by the Mormon YouTube employee who apparently had to work for Valentine's evening. Took it out on me. And so, instead of my normal regular videos warning you of the doom that you're all under because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not communicating correctly with you by lying and deceiving you, thus stealing your money and using that to pay the Judas price to have you all murdered, in a coming day, I thought we'd go over how YouTube hates women, need a teddy bear. When I was at EFY 1 year, it was probably the final one I went to, but a girl gave me her phone number, and I didn't realize that as a guy I'm not supposed to call them back. Nobody taught me. And so she convinced me to go to her home at Newport Beach. And we had spent some time together, and then went home that evening late. Mom never even bothered to dare give me a curfew. But nonetheless, she gave me a teddy bear, and yeah, the one I found for the picture is exactly like the one that she gave me. It was huge, massive huge. I literally could use it as a pillow. It was massive. And so I don't understand why she would buy that for me, since we really don't know each other. But nonetheless, it did concern me that she was more invested than I was, and so I didn't call her ever again. She was a good girl. She liked me. But I was aware of the traditions of Mormonism, that I would be heading off to Rick's College and be heading off on my mission, and then be coming back to Rick's College, and it's unlikely that I would ever see her again. And so as a boy, I'm logical thinking, and that's why, in case women don't understand a man's mind. What was really cool is that there was an oceanfront storm that blew in as I was leaving. And so as I was driving down the road to get back home, lightning strikes would literally shut off the streetlights and all of the apartments and the housing and businesses. Just a blackout as I'm driving home. Just lightning strike, blackout, lightning strike, blackout. It was cool. And so, yeah, tonight's rain, nothing compared to it, but still nice to have rain. And so as I'm watching Castle tonight, finishing up the 6th season, so spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't watched it and are planning to watch it in the coming day, they had Castle and Beckett's wedding that just everything was going wrong. not just that the dress got flooded, so it was ruined, the venue was canceled on them, and so they had to have it changed to the Hamptons. And they find out that Beckett was married still after 15 years of a one-night marriage at a drive-through marriage license place. And that the guy didn't want to sign the divorce papers because he wanted to extort her to commit crimes before he would then extort her again to commit more crimes and more crimes to use her as a cash cow, as that is his lifestyle. And I saw that coming. You never give in to a terrorist when they tell you to do that. Right, Chief Brown? I heard in the news today who the church ordered to have you fired. You didn't quit. Yep. Mendenhall. That's how the church operates, guys. And that's a different video. Maybe tomorrow if I ever go to sleep and then wake up in the afternoon sometime. I'm very tempted. I've got the munchies right now. So, tempted to watch season 7 to continue on with how Castle survived being knocked off the road by the tinted window. Oh, cyber terrorized? Seriously? Did the employee find out that I was up and about? But yeah, Castle gets knocked off the road and the car is on fire when she gets there to the scene because he didn't show up for the wedding. And with the teddy bear, it goes over when I went to Rick's, my first year there. There are all these different girls who had the teddy bear poem and were reading it to me. It couldn't be a bedtime story because they have a curfew that no men are allowed in the dorms after 10 o'clock, I think, or was it 9 o'clock? But the women and men have always been pitted against each other by psychologists and evil bullies that try to cause contention between man and woman, rather than teaching men and women about men and women so that men and women can get along with each other and communicate properly. And so, yeah, like Castle and Beckett not only were extorted by her husband, but her husband was getting himself in trouble with criminal operations and a naughty priest, which then threatened to put their lives in jeopardy. But these Rick's college girls were being brainwashed into a division greater than the natural divisions of male and female with men. And so we'll go over it for you. This one is by Janet Poll, which was an opinion. I didn't see which paper the symbol refers to. It doesn't look like Vanity Fair or something like that, but anyway. And so in 2005, which was 15 years later. Even more than that. And she stole the poem that the Ricks College girls had. And they go, here are some of the reasons. Teddy bears are content to just snuggle all night. But yeah, I do. Never mind. Teddy bears don't give you whisker burn. Sorry, Kimberly and Linda. You can always buy an extra teddy bear. Ooh. Yeah, the church does prostitute us, don't they? Teddy bears never bore you with the details of the game. Really? That sounds like a beam and moat, girls. Beam and moat. Teddy bears can hug for long periods of time. We don't want to turn this into an R-rated video. YouTube would have a field day banning me. Because there are ways to get both to be satisfied. Teddy bears usually smell nice. Don't drip sweat on you. Oh. And are always soft and cuddly. Oh. I've got fur. Not on my back. Chest, legs, except where the genes wore them down over the decades. So I'm spotted on my legs. Teddy bears rarely stink of alcohol or tobacco. Not me either. Teddy bears love long-term commitments. Women never want long-term commitments with me. What's up with that, women? That's a beam and moat. Guys want long-term commitments. It's just not your long-term commitments. That's where communication and understanding each other with correct information and knowledge comes in handy. Teddy bears make great traveling companions. Road trip. Teddy bears don't lie to you. Beam and moat. Kate Beckett lies. Whereas Castle, he's open about his personality and who he is and what he's thinking, and that's what she loves about him. As I get cyber terrorized again. I guess he's upset that I snuck back onto YouTube. But yeah, it's just you can't, because I saw this with women I date, is that they don't want to reveal stuff about themselves. Whether it was because they were ashamed of it, whether it was because they were afraid that I would laugh at them for it, or whether they just didn't trust me, or even the line that I heard from them that they wanted to be mysterious, to keep the mystery going in the relationship. And that's where psychology does damage to women, is they tell you how men are rather than you actually communicating with a man to find out how he is. Notice the difference? All men are not the same, women. You've been lied to. You gotta know the guy. And so they're like the seed to fruit from scriptures, like the videos I did earlier today and yesterday and previously numerous times, trying to get it through to your heads. Church has been lying to you. This is how you obtain truth and knowledge. Yeah, you should be doing that for a guy. That's the way to judge. Matthew 7 is how to judge a guy before making the commitment for a relationship with him. And nobody's doing it. It really is true. And so, yeah, I use that with the one date that I get. A billion times with different women who don't want commitments. And so, yeah, it's important not to lie. And the older singles ward ladies were adding that you couldn't ask questions about them because that's too personal and we're not engaged yet. Those are questions you ask no, you ask them at the beginning. And so, yeah, there are a lot of psychologists in the older singles ward for a reason. Anyway. And so, yeah, but this one specifically, guys who say they're single when they're actually married, yeah, that's kind of a big lie to keep hidden from a person. Because that would be the way to judge. Oh, you're married? Okay, you're off limits. Let me find somebody else who's not married. Unfortunately, our society for the world, which this person obviously is with the world, because, well, Mormons drink alcohol and tobacco too, so it's whatever. But they're talking about meeting somebody at a bar, even though she says stinks of alcohol and tobacco. Why are you going to a bar to pick up a guy? Shouldn't you be going to a toy store where they sell the teddy bears? That's where you'd meet the good guys. But still, yeah, women have their cycles just like men have their cycles, and we tend to pursue when we're in the mood what we shouldn't probably pursue and will regret later on. And so the church protects us by telling us to just turn it off. That we're sinners, that we need to be ashamed and feel guilty and go talk to our bishop whenever we have those thought feelings in our minds, in the frontal lobe. So that we can be punished, I mean helped with our sinful problem. But Kate, dear God, 6 years in and she's still keeping secrets from him. You know, where they're now living together and sleeping together, and still she's keeping secrets from him, where he is not. And so that it can be frustrating for women who experience guys who constantly lie to them, but for a woman who claims that guys lie, and yet women lie, it's not good for the relationship. You're starting off wrong. And that's where dating, for tonight, for example, there are probably many couples going out on dates for the first time, maybe, or for the first few times, after a few times. Whether it's a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or a trans and a trans, or a person and an AI. The AI is making it so that nobody can do the work to make a relationship work between man and woman. AI can be programmed by a person to be exactly what they want the other person to be, which is taking away agency. But it's a digital program. Just like a teddy bear is not real. It's just a stuffed animal. That's not an animal. It's a stuffed sewing thing of cloth. And so, yeah, what this list is talking about is that women are unable to communicate and have a relationship with a man. So they resort to the teddy bear, to the chick flicks, to the ice cream, to the chocolates, to being alone, because it's too hard to get together with somebody else. And it's tougher in our day where there's so much variety to do in life that it's not an agricultural society anymore for survival, where everybody pretty much had the same experiences, not much variety. And so now with the variety, it makes it even harder for relationships as a result. And so that's why office relationships typically are the more common when that change in our society occurred. But I'll probably upload this tomorrow. I'm starting to feel the crash, though I still got the munchies. And for Mormons, it was quite shocking for me to be dumped off by Candy at the older singles ward. That was her name, Candy. So if she's the only Candy Mormon in the valley, you now know who she is and who I'm talking about. Sorry, your parents named you, not me. But the older singles ward that I went to on 72nd, which was Fort Union Boulevard, behind the fire station, everybody who lives here knows what I'm talking about, was the largest packed sacrament meeting and the largest membership of any of the others in the valley and in Utah or anywhere around the world, other than the university ones. And much of it was because for sacrament meeting, people came 2 hours when it wasn't in their boundaries because of the larger number of meat in the meat market. And so, yeah, I saw the guy with the red convertible that had the license plate, O-face, I think it was. And so it was clear that he was there for having sex with the Mormon women, had no interest in a commitment. But women would soon find out that he's not interested in a commitment by seeing the license plate. And for a woman to see the license plate and still pursue going on a date with him, hanging out with him, and you know he's going to pursue wanting to have sex with you. And so if you don't want that in a guy, if you don't want to regret the next morning, you kind of are able to judge him real quick and easily. But when you have a church that doesn't teach you properly on how to judge, that just destroys your life as he becomes the prey. And the one woman who left the church that I talked about earlier this week, and YouTube is flooding my feed with all of her recommended videos. She had one recently she'd been doing a couple of them that are man bashers. Her first one was her husband basher, condemning the family proclamation for causing her husband. So I guess she's not married. Because the video I saw, I wasn't sure if, it seemed like she might have been still married. So I think her video about bashing her husband was something new. And so, yeah, when a guy like me who's single, wanting a relationship with a woman, sees a woman bashing her husband, even though I don't know what he did wrong, if it was him, it sends up red flags for me as a guy. And so, yeah, I'm sure that when I talk about how my slutty wife cheated and betrayed and physically hurt me and stole my Paleo-Hebrew decipherment research and kidnapped the kids and kept them from me and indoctrinated them against me, that women likewise are going, well, what did you do to deserve it? As I had that one elderly lady comment, well, I can see why she prostituted herself, because you're just awful, Travis. Seriously? You're justifying prostituting your body because you don't like it that I'm exposing this church as fraudulent and false and criminal, trying to hurt you? That's the damage that the church does to Mormons. But yeah, I have been involved with dating numerous women who have had problems with men and problems with ex-husbands. And, you know, you need to know that they were involved in a previous relationship. But there's a difference between lying and not bringing up insignificant stuff. Nobody should be complaining about how bears don't snore, jumble around in bed, or hog all the covers. Or squeeze the toothpaste tube from the middle rather than the end. You know, stuff like that really should not make a dent in your relationship. Those are non-issues. If the person snores, yeah, you get one of those little nose clips, a little strap thing on your nose. That is a brilliant device. You know, it's not invasive. You know, it's the little thing that goes over your nose that expands that's it. Problem solved. You know, or if you're filthy rich, you can buy a sleep number bed that will raise up the husband when the bed hears him snore. It's cheaper just to get the but just so you know, I don't snore. I breathe heavy sometimes if my nose is clogged up from, you know, getting a cold, you know, or allergies. Again? Yeah, the church really chose the right person to extort on this one. No wonder they've stuck around this long. But yeah, the church will fire a person if they don't conform and comply. Right, Chief Brown? So yeah, the little things, the way they eat food, the way they have their decorations at home, none of that is sufficient to ruin a marriage or a relationship with. None of that is. That is all petty stuff that should not be an issue in a relationship. You grew up your way. That doesn't mean it's the only one true way. But yeah, I do understand. Kitchen, for example, I let first wife have her kitchen be her kitchen. So she got to put things where she wanted them put. Because she said at the beginning, I want to do all the cooking. Okay. And so when she tried ruining our marriage, that was the one thing she used against me, was to say, well, you never offer to cook. Well, it's because you said in the beginning you wanted to do all the cooking. If you didn't mean that and you were lying to me, you should have said the truth. See, this is why guys don't understand women. Because when you tell us something, we believe you. And then you tell us that we didn't understand you correctly, so we shouldn't have believed you? You were speaking in code, and you're mad at us because we didn't know your code. See, there's a communication problem there. But she was doing it on purpose to cause problems in the relationship, to try to force me to leave. But, the bondage of the church was such that I wasn't going to ruin the relationship. I wanted to make it work. Little did I know that she didn't want it to work, and she wanted me to do it so that she could be the victim. Anyway. I'm sure all women are not like her. But yeah, when I was doing the cooking, it was very frustrating trying to find where she put stuff, because it would not be where I would put stuff doing the cooking. But it was not something to say, I quit, I'm leaving. It was a non-issue. But I can understand how it could be frustrating when things are done simpler and easier and perfect if they're done your way, because that's the way you do things. But decorating your place, that, dear God, that is not something to take a stand on. It should be a disqualifier for a relationship. But I did like the one Castle episode where Castle learned that because Beckett didn't like the lion picture staring at her, that Castle found that it shouldn't be about your stuff and her stuff. It needs to be your together combined stuff. And so Castle then did the brilliant move of arranging seashells by the seashore and put them into a decorative wall hanging, because that was their combined experience that they both enjoyed that day. And that's the kind of thing that guys need to learn about women, is that women associate emotions with certain events that occur in their life. And so when you're dating somebody, if the first date goes well and she wants a second, you kind of need to know what you did on the first date so that you can repeat it for her. And especially on anniversaries, help trigger that memory of the first date. And so that's something that we guys need to be taught. And we don't get taught, and then women punish us for not getting taught that. And we don't understand why we're getting punished, because women don't communicate it. But still, make sure you are not brainwashed by a psychologist that it's you and your choices in life. That is the big difference, because all of the self-help books, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, they're telling you how to be. They're purposely telling you to be contentious towards each other, and that you need to act and behave and think and feel a certain way towards the other in order to get along. That is brainwashing manipulation. That's psychology. And you've got enough of that with the church attacking you. And so, as she continues on with her list of complaints, telling how men should be, because she's unable to get along with men, teddy bears are not only interested in sex. So the teddy bear is interested in sex on occasion? See, again, this is where she is not taught sex ed. This is a major problem with Mormons. Both sexes. Men don't understand women and their sexual natures. Women don't understand men and their sexual natures. And then you've got Utah, where the government is Mormon, enforcing the will of the church upon the public school system. And it's so hilarious that the deep state Dems are panicking that MAGA states now want to put Christian in schools. Utah's been doing it the whole time. Destroying education with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But yeah, and problems and consequences ensue because of the sex abuse of this church for that. Not even bothering to tell us, saying that, oh, it's super sacred, secret, celestial sex that you are privileged to be allowed to do only after you pay the prostitution price and get sealed in the temple. Anybody watch that video? I don't think anybody did. Everybody was on a date tonight, so nobody watched my videos today. Maybe tomorrow, after the day after, I'll have a whole bunch of people flooding my videos. We'll find out whenever I put this up. And so, yeah, this causes severe damage for people. And so, yeah, the abuse of YouTube, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'll put the tribute to the women of YouTube who have been banned by YouTube for being women, which the church calls porn, and thus YouTube calls porn. It's just sad, the abuse and the sexual abuse that happens because they don't want you to know the truth about our bodies. When it's in the scriptures, seed to fruit, hello, that's sex ed right there. But the church doesn't want you to know it. Not just because they don't want you to produce the results of the words of their lies. But yeah, there's a direct correlation by not teaching sex ed and not telling you the truth and telling you not to pursue finding out the truth. Direct correlation. And so teddy bears know when you've had a bad day and could need a hug. I've I've had way too many of those, and I don't have my teddy bear anymore. Because I got home from my mission, and it was gone. Somebody stole it, along with several other stuff of mine. My whole box of cassette tapes. Big box of cassette tapes. I go bigly. When I'm involved in a commitment, I'm serious. I'm all in. Teddy bears always agree on your vacation spot. That's a non-issue. You can go to more than one vacation. But dating, oh, do we watch a chick flick or do we watch a man of action chick or a man of action flick? Again, dating relationships in our culture ruin marriage relationships. Because in a dating relationship, you're not being yourself. You're putting on costumes. You're doing things you normally don't do. So that when you get married and babies start to come around, you're no longer that person anymore when you were dating. And I've heard it from both sides. They've changed. They're not the person I dated. Where's the person I dated? They were awesome. Well, they were wearing a mask. They were wearing a costume. They were not behaving and acting like they normally do. They were lying to you. The whole dating system is fraudulent. People don't know how to communicate to get to know each other. So it's extremely frustrating that a guy has to fork out money after money after money and things that are bought with money to try to impress the woman, hoping that, he gets to a certain dollar amount before she consents. Prostitution. Dating is prostitution. It's legalized, though, and I don't understand why. Why are Mormons higher priced prostitutes? Doesn't make any sense to me. And the one woman who walked by in the middle of sacrament meeting in the older singles ward at the one church behind the fire station on Fort Union Boulevard gave me the dirtiest look when she turned around. Talking to a guy that I was sitting with. Sorry, women, the church did that to you. And so, it's sad that people refuse to accept the causation of their problems, the church. Anyway, teddy bears don't have to hide when your mother comes for a visit. But again, the Bible knows what it's talking about when it says a man and a woman need to leave their parents and become one, having babies, but also one in heart and mind. Is because other people, like a psychologist, tends to want to correct you on how you're doing things wrong. Like this list. And so it's fine for people to come and visit. The guy kind of has to accept that he's going to have to meet her parents one day. Meet the Fockers. Did I say that correctly? It's a trilogy now, isn't it? Meet the parents, meet the Fockers, and meet the other What was the other one? Anyway, whatever the other one was. Robert De Niro and some other people. But, yeah, you gotta. But you can't base your relationship on how your parents feel about the guy you're dating or the woman you're dating. Because that should never be the case. You should be taught correctly how to make a judgment of who the right person is to be involved with in a relationship. Somebody who is communicating with you, somebody who you get along with, somebody who you like being with, somebody who isn't lying to you in the dating relationship, putting on a costume, putting on a mask, and pretending to be somebody that they're not, hoping that will impress you because you're ashamed of who you really are and don't want them to know who you really are. So, anyway. Teddy bears don't care if you haven't shaved your legs for a few weeks. But did I shave my legs for this? We should probably use that as the theme song in the description below. I have no place to put it. Did I shave my legs for this? Or where have all the cowboys gone? That would also work. Again, that's not an issue. The guy needs to know that you have hairy legs. And so, if he knows you shave, that's one thing. But if you let him believe that you don't have hairy legs, and then in the marriage you let your legs go, because you're now being yourself, you're taking off your costume. But again, that usually means that you're hoping to get some action that night as to why you're shaving your legs. At least in that thing, the song. That's what she means. Did I shave my legs for this? And so, yeah, there are certain things that worldly people have in their traditional cultural practice for dating that Mormons are completely clueless about. So understand there is a distinction. Men and women go to a bar to hook up for the night, not for a relationship for all eternity. And so that's why men work for the weekend. And so women, like Pink, who goes to a bar where men work for the weekend, and she thinks she's going to be left alone by men. Pink, you were not taught correctly. You are purposely in a situation trying to change men's nature, because bars are the outlet that are culturally approved in our society for men to take care of their needs. If we were all to be taught sex ed correctly. And so Pink, you in your hand, is helping to cause that division between men and women, even though I like the song. That beaten tone gets me every time. Teddy bears love it when you wear flannel to bed. So do I. It is so hot. I need a fashion show try-on of those. But yeah, the first wife, she joked about wanting a flannel nightgown for bed. And I said, okay, fine. It was too expensive, but at least I was fine with it. She tried to divide us by talking about flannel. And then don't even get me started about what she actually agreed to. And then when I found it, I didn't know what to do. I was conflicted because of where I found it. Being a Mormon has its extra problems of sex abuse. And then teddy bears never stand up their dates. Yeah. That's sad when somebody agrees to the date and then they bail on you. And there's some protocols because the communication on how to date is also necessary. But again, if you're doing it for an image of yourself that is not real, it's better that you stand them up. But after so many stand-ups, it hurts. Because guys in Mormonism, for example, she is a female and he stands her up. See, in Mormon culture, the men have to do all the work. The men have to initiate. And it's extremely frustrating when women constantly say no and refuse to give a guy a chance just because they've got a crush on some other guy that they're not wanting to communicate with. And thus don't communicate why they're standing up and rejecting other guys. Because they've already got a ring on their finger spiritually. They're just waiting for the other guy to get the spiritual witness feeling for her. And it never happens. And so yeah, it's crushing when a Mormon woman tells you after a single date that she wasted her time on you. The women who go into psychology are extremely abusive, not just prison worthy like Jody Hildebrandt. Teddy bears are never on a business trip. When you get cyber terrorized, they're just on a roll. They are not letting. So normally 3 would be the max when I started getting cyber terrorized with a freezing camera. Notice I haven't been frozen for a while. But Valentine's still working. It's only been 4 hours. So, business trips when you need them. So, whatever I was talking about. Teddy bears are happy to stay loyal in your bed when you are away. Guys ask women to stay right there in bed until they get back. There's a movie or a TV show about that popped into my head, but I can't remember it at the moment. Let's see. Teddy bears don't have weird eating habits. See, again, non-issue. Don't ruin a relationship over that. Especially when you think you are not human and that you're a fruitarian like Pie was on Castle. Or doing the crazy fad diets that are out there, as the older singles ward women were all doing. Don't hurt yourself because somebody told you that it was cool to do and it's the fad and everybody's doing it, so you might as well do it. Don't be ashamed of your body. Treat your body with respect. Don't cover it up and hide it. Don't abuse it. It should be real simple. You don't need a religion to give you a word of wisdom. That doesn't mean the church is true. Eat right and exercise. It's a basic thing that works for everybody. And yet, too many people want quick fixes in life. And those quick fixes will get you scammed of your money and cause you harm. Like the Mormon here in Utah that was claiming to have an investment opportunity for other Mormons who fell for it. Don't fall for quick fixes. There is no quick fix unless you commit crimes. And teddy bears invariably understand when you have a headache, but the cure for a headache we all know. Sorry, can't use that anymore. But yeah, it does, because of the physical exercise that's involved to clear the blood flow. That is the reason for the headache. Migraines, I think, are different, but you shouldn't be using those as an excuse when it's not a migraine and you really don't have a headache. You just don't want to do it. But that's a woman thing. I mean, you don't have a headache, dear. Don't tell us that. Teddy bears never complain about your lack of house cleaning. Guys never complain about a woman's lack of house cleaning. They complain that you're too tidy. And you're not doing a role play for house cleaning. It is women who complain about a men's lack of house cleaning, for the most part. So I don't know what kind of guys she's pursuing. Teddy bears are never too young or too old. I had my Winnie the Pooh bear that I got as an infant that the first wife purposely wanted destroyed and thrown away. She didn't care about my life and what led me to be with her. She wanted my life gone and erased. That's different from decorating your place and the traditions that you establish together. Both of you had a life, and you should not expect that the other person is wrong or that the other person needs to stop doing their life. That's what Kate could never tolerate of Castle. She didn't like that he was a little kid playing around, and yet you find out that he's got a daughter that he's had to raise all by himself. That's how they bonded. And so now Kate is in the picture, and so he loves his daughter, he loves Kate. He is trying to repeat those happy times that he had with his daughter with Kate, and Kate never understood. She could never grasp it. She wanted Castle to be what she wanted him to be, and went 5 years missing out on a relationship that they finally get to have in season 6. You ruin relationships when you take away the agency of another person. Don't do that. Love the person for who they are. And if you really can't, you need to tell them and refuse to drag it on. You're the problem because you don't love. And so, yeah, these are the comments that I get from Mormons who disagree with the Book of Mormon and the scriptures. They emotionally attack me because they use spiritual witness feelings to establish truth in their life. And so when they don't agree with me, instead of communicating and saying, wait a minute, I thought that scripture meant this, And then I can explain to them, no, you're using Christian interpretation. You need to use Jewish. Nope. They have to come out with the insults and name-calling and abuse and threats. Because Mormons are not taught properly by the leaders. Mormons are emotionally, spiritually, intellectually deficient because of the church. And that carries over into relationships. Not just with an eternal relationship, but with your family, with your friends, with your co-workers, with your neighbors, with those in the ward. It's the church that causes the damage. Because the church is telling you to take away your agency, to tell you how to think, to tell you how to feel, to tell you how to believe, to tell you what to do and when to do it. Don't do that in a relationship. You will destroy it. Women have found that when the guy tries to be everything that the woman tells them they're not, that the women are never satisfied with the end result. The guy became who she wanted him to be in the image of her will, and she doesn't like him. There's a reason. Because you didn't like the guy. Well, the woman liked the guy in the beginning because he wasn't the image that she wanted. That's the whole thing. See, women learn firsthand that the consequences of their will for another person is wrong and they shouldn't have done it. And instead of acknowledging that they were the problem, blame it on the other person and ruin the relationship and leave. Saying that he wasted their life. Don't do that. And teddy bears don't borrow and crash your car. What are you doing? But again, a guy who borrows a woman's car is because he's poor. And so it's nice that she's charitable to date a guy who doesn't have a car. But in Utah, Mormon women, they need a financial level of accomplishment in order to even get to talk with them. And that's a sad reality. It is extremely disappointing to see because of the church and the damage they've done. Teddy bears are not worried about catching your flu. Teddy bears can never get you pregnant. Yeah, teddy bears aren't messy. But with when a woman or a guy gets sick, that's when you know that the other person is good for you or not. That's when you see their true colors. When you're at your worst, by no fault of your own, like having the flu, by getting injured, by having to go to the hospital, or some other situation that is not your fault, the other person is still at your side, you would be stupid to pass them up. They are willing to be with you at your worst. They are willing to see you without your makeup. They're willing to still be with you with your hairy legs. They still want sex with you. And you don't get it, and you ruin the relationship. It doesn't get any better for a relationship than somebody who is there with you during the worst times of your life. Being there to support you, to be with you, to pass on that. I mean, seriously, why are you punishing yourself? Don't do that to yourself. And I see that too often. So, but yeah, that's the big test that you're wanting, and why you're covering up in the dating relationship, hiding your true identity, hiding your true appearance during the dating time, because you think that you have to impress the other person, when that's the big test, is to see you normally, and you don't want to force somebody to see you with the flu. You don't want to catch the flu on purpose to see how he would respond. But when those situations come up, you can tell the true nature of a person by what they do with you during those times. And so yeah, that's how I know that I have no family or friends. Everybody betrayed me when the church attacked me. Everybody stood on the side of the church, didn't bother to care to know what happened. I was automatically to blame, and nobody had honor and integrity. Nobody demonstrated true love. Nobody. And so for 6 years of my life, gone, because of the hate that the church had instilled in everybody. And so I knew their true natures. And so when a woman is dating me, and she's been told that you will know the quality of a guy by the way he treats his mommy, yeah, it doesn't work with me. My mom betrayed me. My mom betrayed me. And a woman needs to understand that she can't betray me, because I'm already traumatized with a mom who betrayed me. And so it's not a situation where a woman goes, well, I don't know, I might betray him. Why? Why would you do that? You shouldn't be seeking a relationship if you're a bad person. But yeah, you get psychology that throw out all these lists that people have to conform to, and lists just take you in the wrong direction and ruin relationships. Don't fall for that. It's like the church. Don't create a list of sins and good things to do. That's not what the religion is about. That's not what the scriptures are telling you to do. It's just love. That's it. Don't make it complicated. And so that's one where you can know if a person loves you. They may not be ready to take it to the next level of a relationship, but being there when you have the flu, they are taking it to the next level. The question is, are you going to pick up on it? And so no, it may not be that they want to move in with you yet. Again, that's a different tradition with Mormons versus the world. They may not want to propose yet. It's only been 3 days. It hasn't been a week yet. No need to rush. haven't he proposed? He doesn't love me. Teddy bears never leave your bathroom a wreck. Again, guys, they have to grow up with sisters that are older than them. There are things they need to learn about women. And so don't blame a guy because he didn't grow up with sisters, didn't get taught about women. That situation, she wants a guy who's had other relationships that failed. That's what that one's exposing of this woman, Janet. Because women leave their bathrooms a wreck too. Especially when she wants to move in with you. All of a sudden, all her stuff gets put in and you're forced to have it. And again, make it about you guys. But there are certain nostalgic items that a woman does need, and a man too, needs a place for. Even if it's to be packed away because they're now forming a new life, the guy and the woman should never be forced to throw their stuff away or give them away because the other doesn't like it, doesn't want it. That's what made you who you are. And so, yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of stuff that makes me who I am. Baby Yoda, the Superman baseball cap that was given as a gift, the serpent staff, the ring. These are things that nobody should be telling me I have to get rid of. These are me. And if you don't like them, it means you don't like me. But I shouldn't use them to force on you that you have to have my serpent staff at the end of the bed. This is only for props. I can put it away. Baby Yoda, maybe not. Definitely the ring. I'm not taking off the ring. I put it on my right hand for a reason. I didn't put it on my left. And so no, I'm keeping this. And so I've had people comment, take off that ring because of their hatred, not just of me, but of the Jews and the pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians, and the symbolism that this stands for, that Mormons have been brainwashed to be hateful towards. And that's the symbol of your Christ. That's how far off Mormons are. This is a double whammy for me, because not only do I know that women don't love me, but both women and men have no interest in their Christ. That they are so caught up in their own personal Jesus that they created in their own mind that they are unwilling to learn from the scriptures who their actual Christ is to be. And so when he's in their presence, they reject him. It's the same thing being in an older singles ward or a younger singles ward. You get rejected in their presence. So it's a double whammy for me. And then finally, teddy bears don't mess up your apartment and don't generate laundry. She should talk. I'm a very simple person. I've learned to make my life simple, not complicated. And so thus, I have a routine that keeps my life simple and easy to manage, because I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff, and then still I've got projects galore piling up and projects to work on that I can't keep up with, especially to be obsessed with keeping this place spotless for a white glove. I can't do that. It's unrealistic, unreasonable. And so I have a routine to keep myself organized and not let things get out of control. So if a woman comes along and she doesn't like that, she needs to understand that there are certain things that I must do. Like I have to exercise. If a woman comes into my life and wants to take me away from exercising in the morning, we're going to have problems. I have to exercise for my health. But other stuff, I could try to communicate how perfect my way is. Like cleaning, for example. I have daily touch-ups where I see I need to do some cleaning. But then there's the weekly laundry that I do extra cleaning. Dishes are done instantly. I don't let them pile up in the sink and get to them when I want to get to them. No, I don't do that. I don't use the dishwasher. It's just me. When I cook, I keep it simple. I don't have a whole bunch of pots and pans cooking all sorts of stuff with all sorts of dishes. No, because that's too much cleaning to do afterward. I keep it simple. But I can understand and appreciate cooking for a woman a special meal as long as she knows that that's not me. But I can do it. I just don't like to do it because of all the manual hard labor of cleaning that I would have to do afterward. And so the weekly one, that's when I do the bathroom and the kitchen and stuff like that. And then monthly, you'll notice that the bedspread, the quilt, that gets cleaned. And likewise, the cover for the chair. There's extra stuff, and these things, covers for the computer, also get washed once a month. And so the once a month is a deeper clean. And I purposely set aside time for that, knowing that that's the case. Those types of things to keep my life simple, to keep myself on top of things so that it doesn't get out of control, so that there's a pile of dirt all over my table here. Because it can't get too dirty in the apartment because of the allergies that I have. The little babysitter that I had as an infant back in Oakland, California, was a smoker. And so it's not my fault that I have allergies. And for people to be upset with snoring and allergy symptoms, I had a woman who didn't like it that I had allergies to cats, that I nearly died. People need to understand this and not be upset with me for that. It's not my fault. It was the babysitter who blew smoke from a cigarette. I'm assuming it could have been a doobie. My parents weren't clear on that. In my face as an infant. And so yeah, I was abused as a baby by the babysitter. And she tried to hide the stash in the toilet tank in the bathroom. That's where my dad found it, he said. But yeah, that's some problems that I had. And there's some other problems that came from other instances in life. The tree branch and Placentia in my right eye. Did you guys read the meme of that? Did you understand it? The scar, I think it's here, or is it here? Yeah, here, right there. That one was from being a toddler in the back of the station wagon, going to visit Grandma and Grandpa in Ventura, as I fell and bumped caused stitches. I don't remember it per se. I remember being in the back of the station wagon. But it could have been why my parents no longer had the seat in the back of the station wagon up anymore. But they always folded it down flat, and so the kid who had to go in the back had to lie down. Which was a fun thing to do for those long 2-hour trips. But, oh, the ear. Yeah, notice this ear? It's not the same as this ear, because this was folded down when I was born. Popped up a couple days later. But, yeah, it's very weird, because I sleep on this side, and you'd think that by sleeping on this side, this ear would be flat up against my head, but nope. This one is. You know, those kinds of things. But nobody should be ashamed of it. I've got my bald head happening because that's my mom's father. I was told as a boy by my dad that I will have my mom's father's hairline. And so he recommended this hairstyle for me. It's my modification of the 1950s businessman haircut, because that's the best for this type of balding. And my grandpa was cool. I like my grandpa, and so I'm not going to be ashamed that I'm going bald, especially when I know the reason why men bald. Right, women? It's because of our shoe size, right? Something to do with that. And so, yeah, there's lots of things for relationships, but in short, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that causes the problem. And so the laundry, yeah, I do that once a week, and it would be nicer to do it sooner, because it is really tedious to fold the clothes and to fold them the way that I need them to be closed, because I put them on. And so that's where the person needs to understand that what they do, let them do it their way. What you do, they need to let you do it your way. And so as much as they want to help by folding your underwear, if they don't fold it the way you want it folded, they need to either do it your way or not do it at all. It's that simple. But it shouldn't be a situation that ruins the relationship by taking away agency and forcing the other person to accept your way of folding it for them. So anyway, and so yeah, lots of stuff that I can go over, but I don't know how many broken segments we have to piece together for a video, but teddy bears. So yeah, that was on my mind today for Valentine's Day. As last year for Valentine's Day, I had the Valentine's Day Massacre cyber terrorism from YouTube. Well, I don't think it was from YouTube. I think it was actually the Mormons going through Google that time, because it went through my security system. It was the cause of that. So that would have been a Google or a Microsoft cyber attack. But yeah, I had the cyber terrorism for today from YouTube. Yeah, we got on to 30 minutes now, so I guess they finally backed off. Yeah, that teddy bear brings back memories. Likewise, the teddy bear complaint forum